The time is now 6 p.m. Our regular City Council meeting for July 6, 2021 is now in session. Councilmember Davis will lead us with the opening prayer and the pledges of allegiance to the flags of the United States and the state of Texas. Please rise.
Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings you have afforded our community. We place our work and ourselves in your hands and ask that you inspire us so that our ideas and our energy in every task may bring you honor. When we are challenged, guide us. When we are weary, energize us. May the work that we do and the way that we do it bring hope, life, and a renewed spirit to all in our community. Bless our leaders with wisdom and discernment, our employees and first responders with commitment and compassion, and our residents with understanding of each other's differences and love for their neighbors. In your name we pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Councilmember Davis. First on the agenda, we have a presentation, a proclamation. I will head down to the podium here. If I could please have all the Parks and Recreation staff, please come on up, please. As you all know, this weekend they pulled off one of our biggest events ever, and we really do appreciate it. This is the City of Schertz proclamation, Parks and Recreation story. Whereas the Parks and Recreation programs are an integral part of our communities throughout our country and including Schertz, Texas. Whereas the Parks and Recreation increases the community's economic prosperity through the increase of property values, expansion of local tax base, increases tourism, and attractions and retention of businesses and crime reduction. Whereas the parks and recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. Whereas our parks and our natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect underground water, prevent flooding, improve the quality of air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for the wildlife. Whereas our parks and our natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and the outdoors. Whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, whereas Schertz, Texas recognizes the benefits derived from our parks and recreation resources. Now therefore be it resolved by Ralph Gutierrez, the Mayor of the City of Schertz, that July is recognized as Parks and Recreation Month in the City of Schertz, Texas. Ms. Strong?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I just want to say a few words. Every year we celebrate National Park and Recreation Month, and this year's theme is Our Story. So I just wanted to take a minute to tell you our story. This team of 12 people behind you, with the help of Park and Recreation Advisory Board members, maintain approximately 450 acres of land in the City of Schertz. We host 50 special events, programs, parades with over 15,000 in attendance. We oversee 500 hours of volunteer service with the Scouts, Master Gardeners, Master Naturalists, etc. We oversee 1,200 hours of athletic association service. Those athletic associations have over 3,800 youth registrations per year. That's pre-COVID, but they're back growing. We oversee the contracts with the YMCA for our indoor recreation facilities, and our aquatic center alone sees 78,000 admissions per year, with our outdoor pools accounting for another 10,000 admissions every summer. We provide the nutrition program at the Schertz Area Senior Center. We serve over 12,000 meals per year to our seniors. We're working hard with our Parks and Recreation Advisory Board members to provide more trails for the citizens of Schertz and have several projects in the works, including the first leg of the Great Northern Trail that's under construction right now along Schertz Parkway up to Wiederstein Road. And we're also working on a new community park project and seeking grant funding for the future Hilltop Park project. Thank you to all who make Parks and Recreation in Schertz fun. It takes a village, all the volunteer organizations, and this team. And thank you to council for your support. Thank you.
I just want to say this weekend, like I said, was very exciting, and a lot of positive feedback that I have received by the events that occurred this weekend, starting with the project flag line. How beautiful our Schertz Parkway looked with the flags just aligned from I-35, the FM 78, and then the parade. What a great, well, the weather was great once we started. And also even the festivities after. It was a great event. And you know, when you first saw it at 5 o'clock, it was just starting to gather. But by 9 o'clock, there was hardly any room for anyone to sit down in. But it was a great event, and it could not have been accomplished without this team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll continue with our next presentation, the prevention of mosquitoes in our community. We have a video. Ms. Wood?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm Lisa Wood. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development, and I have Devin Christensen here with Public Affairs. And we wanted to show you that throughout the rain, we've had a lot of these mosquitoes that are like helicopters these days. And we've started some outreach. I want to thank Rebecca Vera, the sanitarian. She was unable to make it today, and Lisa Locken, as well as Public Affairs. And they did a great job on the video and pulling information together. June the 20th through the 26th was Mosquito Awareness Week. And so we started thinking about how we could work to outreach for our community. And so we have a new page for mosquito prevention that we plan to build on, and a video for you to see. I'm hoping the sound's gonna work.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Vera, the Health Inspector for the City of Schertz, here today with Lisa Locken from our Code Enforcement team. We're here to talk a bit about mosquito prevention. So thanks, Lisa.
Oh, you're welcome, Rebecca. Hey, can you tell us why preventing mosquitoes is so important?
Why, yes. With about 3,500 different types of mosquito worldwide, there's only a few that can cause disease and spread viruses like West Nile and Zika, as well as spread parasites from one person to another. And they can also infect our pets with heartworm.
Ooh, good to know. Hey, Rebecca, can you tell me how we can prevent mosquitoes from becoming our neighbors?
Why, yes. When we talk about mosquitoes, they have 4 parts to their life cycle, with 3 of them in water. So by eliminating any standing water that we have around our homes, we have a good chance of reducing the population around us. With standing water as small as the size of a bottle cap, mosquito can lay eggs and grow. By disposing of water in standing pots and any other collection spots, or treating pots that we can't dump over, like rain barrels, ponds, and even fountains, appropriately, we can reduce the mosquito population around us.
How can we avoid becoming a meal for mosquitoes?
Well, we can wear long sleeves and pants when we're working outdoors at dusk and dawn when mosquitoes are the most active. And we can also use any EPA-registered insect repellent.
Rebecca, I have another question for you.
Yes.
This one comes from my niece, Nicole. She was wondering, are mosquitoes attracted to smell?
Well, that's a great question, Lisa. And yes, when it comes to mosquitoes, it's all theory, but it's all about chemistry. When it comes to people, the carbon dioxide that you breathe out, mixed with your sweat and body odor, can attract mosquitoes. They sense it and they gravitate towards it. But when it comes to plants, there are some plants that are natural repellent for mosquitoes, such as peppermint, lavender, lemongrass, lemon balm, catnip, among others. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for all those great questions. Hopefully we provided some useful information for our residents here in Schertz. And if you have any other questions, send me an email to healthinspector@schertz.com. And remember the 3 Ds. Drain all the standing water, dress for going outside during peak hours, and defend by using any EPA-registered insect repellent.
Okay. Thank you for letting us show you the video, and we'll continue to work on a program.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Council, any comments or questions? Well, it just seems like we had quite a bit of rain this year, so I would think that from what I hear, it only takes 3 days for the larva to mature, and with all this rain, the water keeps just sits there, and
Yep.
it's a buffet for them right now. Thank you so much. All right, we'll move on to employee recognition. First, we have the Economic Development Corporation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Adrian Pettis, Director of the Schertz Economic Development Corporation. Excited to introduce 2 new team members to the EDC tonight. First, we're going to introduce Shannery Gold. Shannery is the Business Retention Expansion Manager. Shannery has over 17 years of experience in urban planning, and prior to joining the EDC, she's held different city planner positions, including serving as a planner for the city of Schertz and the city of San Antonio. Before coming to Texas, she held different land development consultant positions, including serving as manager of current and environmental planning for Orange County Development Services, as well as the real estate development manager for the County Executive Office for the County of Orange in California. She holds a Master's of Urban Regional Planning degree from Cal Poly Pomona and a Bachelor of Arts degree with a double major in Economics and Psychology from the University of California, Santa Barbara. Shannery and her husband stay busy with volleyball and a recreational activity with friends, and soccer and swim classes for their 5-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son. Due to travel restrictions and delaying planned trips to the West Coast and overseas, they have embraced keeping their kids busy by exploring local attractions and planning weekend excursions to the beach and different parks around the area. Shannon, would you like to say a few words?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members and Dr. Brown. Good evening. It's been a few years since I've been in this council chambers, so it feels good to be back, and I look forward to serving the residents and the businesses in Schertz. Thank you.
Welcome back, and welcome back to our team. Appreciate it.
The next team member I'd like to introduce is Cherie Kearney. Cherie serves as the administrative assistant for the EDC. She brings over 30 years of administrative budget and finance experience to the EDC. Prior to joining the team, she was the chief business officer for the Institute of Geophysics at the University of Texas in Austin, where she was responsible for overseeing accounting, purchasing, travel, payroll, budget, financial reporting, HR, and research administration. She holds a bachelor's of business administration and accounting from Texas State University. Cherie grew up as an Air Force dependent and spent 9 years as an Air Force spouse and has lived in several places. Her favorite is Hawaii. Her least favorite is Minot, North Dakota. She's not a big fan of the cold, understandable. But Texas has always been home. She graduated from Randolph High School. Rohawk pride runs deep. She moved back to Schertz in 2016 in preparation for retirement from UT Austin back in January 2021, so we're very fortunate to have connected with her. She has 2 grown daughters, Ashley and Taylor, and 2 grandkids, Gage and Ryan. She shared that her grandchildren are truly her reward from having survived the teenage years of her daughters. Cherie's an avid football fan. Dallas Cowboys and Texas Longhorns are her teams. And on her bucket list is to attend a game in every NFL stadium in the country. She enjoys being a grandma, traveling, reading, shopping, and dancing. Cherie, would you like to say a few words?
I'm very pleased to be here. I wasn't sure that I would go back to work after retiring from UT, but I couldn't stay home. I just too busy, I guess. I don't know. But I'm very pleased to be here. I'm looking forward to working with the EDC and actually contributing to my community. So thank you.
Well, welcome to our team.
Thank you.
Next, we have the fire department.
Taller here. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Dr. Brown. How are you this evening? Tonight, we'd like to welcome our newest member to our fire department family, Amanda Matthews. Amanda comes to us actually from Live Oak, where she was before she came to us in the fire department. She grew up in New Braunfels, Texas, went to New Braunfels High School. She's a unicorn. Has a bachelor's degree in sports management from Bacone University and a master's in leadership and organizational change from St. Edward's University in Austin. She currently lives in San Antonio with her partner Jess and 2 dogs, Ada and Cooper, her little kids as she calls them. And in her free time, she loves to rock climb, kayak, and go running. Please welcome to our family, Amanda Matthews.
First and foremost, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to be a part of the Schertz Fire Department. I look forward to contributing to the continued success and serving the residents of not only Schertz, but the surrounding communities as well.
Welcome again. Welcome to our team. We have Parks and Recreation and Fun.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Dr. Brown. Tonight I have 2 positions I'm introducing. One of my positions, he had to work a night job tonight, so he couldn't make it. So we'll start with him. His name is Daniel Pillar. He has lived in Schertz since 2007. He was an Eagle Scout, or still is, I guess. He graduated from Steele High School in 2014. He went to a little school called UTSA and got a bachelor's in criminal justice. He holds a few associate's degrees, one in business administration and one in liberal arts. He has 5 siblings. One of his siblings, Matthew, if the name looks familiar, has worked for us for a couple years in the past in a row, and he's getting close to graduating college right now. So we're very proud of him, and he's a good acquisition to our team. Next, we have Diego Martinez. He comes to us from high school. This is his senior year at Clemens. He'll be graduating in 2022. He's working on his welding certificate. In his free time, he enjoys fishing, which is very rare in these parts, I've heard. And he also likes hanging around with friends and family. He was a great help to us on the 4th of July, and when he came to us, it was preparation 4th of July, and he just got right in there and did a great job for us. So, would you like to say a few words?
I'd just like to say I'm very thankful to be here today, and I have a great team behind me, and hopefully we can see where my future leads us here in the city of Schertz. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Welcome to our team. Next, we have the police department.
Good evening, Mayor and council members, Dr. Brown. It's my pleasure to introduce our newest member of the police department family, Jared Bowers. Jared was born in Austin. He went to high school in Bastrop, then went into the military for 4 years with the Marine Corps. Then went to Texas State, where he got a bachelor's of science in psychology. He decided to move up north and go to Dallas, where he started his law enforcement career. So he received his education with the Dallas Police Department in Law Enforcement Academy. After about 1.5 years with Dallas, him and his wife have a new baby girl and decided to move back down to this area to be with family. So please help me welcome Jared Bowers.
Good evening, everybody. I would just like to thank everybody for the opportunity to work here. I'm humbled, and I appreciate everybody's support.
Well, thank you for serving our community, and I hope that you have a long career with our enforcement here. Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll continue with the city events and announcements of upcoming events. Mr. James?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, because it is Parks Month, to help celebrate that, this Thursday is the first of our popsicle party. So Thursday, July 8th at Cypress Point Park. That's at 5526 Cypress Point from 6 to 7 p.m. Celebrate Parks and Rec Month with free popsicles and activities. Friday, July 9th in the morning at 8:30 here in council chambers, we'll be having the joint workshop with City Council and the Planning and Zoning Commission. More parks activities on Saturday, July 10th. The Nature Discovery Series continues. That's at Crescent Bend Nature Park. That's from 10 to 11, and this one is Discover Horns and Thorns. Staying alive is tough. Pre-registration is required, though, but you can do that at Schertz.com. Our next regular council meeting is Tuesday, July 13th. Thursday, July 22nd, the Randolph Metrocom Rotary Club is hosting a casino night party for all essential workers. That's at the Bluebonnet Palace in Selma, but likely you'll drive through Schertz to get there. That's from 6 to 9 p.m. There are many sponsors hosting a free casino party night for all essential workers to say thank you for everything they've done for us for the last 12 years that Randolph Metrocom's been around, or for the last 12 months, rather, what they've done for us. There's no cover charge for anyone. Free appetizers, and essential workers will receive $1,000 in casino chips at no cost. And then finally, November 2nd, the city is holding its general election for council members places 6 and 7 to 3-year terms running from November 2021 to November 2024. All candidates desiring to have his or her name on the official ballot shall file with the city secretary an application in writing in the form provided by the election code. Filing date is no sooner than July 17th, but since that falls on a Saturday, city offices close, it moves to July 19th. So it goes from July 19th through Monday, August 16th at 5 p.m. The requirements for candidacy can be found at the Schertz website, and again, council packets are available with the city secretary's office.
All right, thank you, Mr. James. Next, announcements and recognitions by our city manager, Dr. Brown.
Thanks, Mayor. I would be remiss if I didn't also recognize the Parks Department, Lauren and Jared and her team. Thank you all. You know, and the mayor said it very well. What a superb job you did. And what I think is remarkable, there's just a dozen of you to maintain all of our parks. We don't have a staff of 40 or 50. So you saw them all tonight. And there's not 30 more of them out waiting in the wings. So they do a great job with the resources that they have, and we just appreciate you and appreciate all the work that you did this weekend. So thank you very much.
All right, announcements and recognitions by the mayor. At this time, I don't have any, so we'll continue with the hearing of residents. This time is set aside for any person who wishes to address the city council. Each person is limited to 3 minutes, and we ask before addressing the council, for the record, please state your name and address. Mayor Pro Tem, will you please call the first speaker?
The first is Richard DeWitt.
Richard Jevitt, 2550 Chase Field Drive, and I think it's in Schertz, yes. What I wanted to do is just to say thank you for the city, the staff, and everyone for a fantastic parade. I mean, it was so extremely well handled, and I could not believe the number of people that were out there to actually see it. It was great to be able to ride in there, and I think I wanted to thank specifically Mary Spence and her staff for turning off the sprinkler system just in the right time and letting the parade go through. It was enough to cool everybody off first, you know, and then to have us go through the handling and everything else. You did a fantastic job. You'd be commended on it. Thank you.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem, please call our next speaker.
Maggie Titterington.
Good evening, Council. It's going to be a busy month. It's already started busy. The Chamber's got a lot of ribbon cuttings, plaque presentations. We had one this morning at the Chamber House. We have another one on the 14th of July. All these are at 10:30. It seems like everybody prefers doing it first thing in the morning. But we're very excited about, on the 15th, Access Medical Clinic, which used to be Quality Medcare right there at 78, where Coney Island Hot Wieners is. They're going to be grand opening at 10:30. And then on the 22nd, we've been waiting for a couple of years for this, but Reynosa, who is a Farmers Insurance Agency outlet and affiliate, she's going to be grand opening at her place right off of 3009, also at 10:30. We have our luncheon back at the Civic Center, so excited. On the 20th, it's going to be the graduation of our Leadership Corps class. We have 8 students graduating, very excited about that. They're all very sad that it's already come to an end, and I know some of you all who have participated in that program understand that feeling of disconnect, that after spending 7-8 months together now, it's done. So we're already getting some more people interested in the 2022 class, so looking forward to presenting them at one of our future City Council meetings. Our mixer is on the 15th and hosted by the Rotary at Harrison House in Selma, which you'll have to drive through Schertz, as Mr. James said, to get to it for that mixer. But that will be our monthly chamber mixer hosted by the Rotary from 5:30 to 7. And then the last thing that I have, on the 21st, our Epic Education class. It's going to be at the Civic Center, the Blue Bonnet Hall Room, and it's going to be Time to Sweat the Small Stuff. Now, this is going to be presented by Growing Out Loud Darlin, Amy House, and it's about the details that actually do make your business or where you work. And so she's going to break down, debunk some myths, talk about speed, what the heck is consistency anyways, and that she's going to have everybody leaving with a plan to implement to kind of kickstart and get a fresh just perspective on how you're doing your business or how you're working at a business. That is the 21st, 7:30 to 11. You can still register online. There's still spots available. And that's all that's going on in the chamber so far this month. Thank you.
And that was just this month. Whoa. All right, we'll continue with the consent agenda items are considered self-explanatory, and information packets are provided to council and available for public viewing. These items require no separate discussion unless requested by council. Item number 1, the minutes. Consideration or action regarding the approval of the minutes of our special meeting on June 17th, 2021. The minutes of our joint CVLGC Schertz and Cibolo meeting on June 21st, 2021, and minutes of our regular meeting on June 22nd, 2021. Item number 2, resolution number 21R60, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Schertz, Texas, approving the Schertz-Seguin Local Government Corporation fiscal year 2021-2022 annual budget and other matters in connection therewith. Item number 3, resolution number 21R62. A resolution by the City Council of the City of Schertz, Texas, approving a request for a Schertz Main Street Local Flavor Economic Development Grant for 409 Main Street in the City of Schertz, Texas, and related matters in connection therewith. Item number 4, resolution number 21R59, a resolution by the City Council of the City of Schertz, Texas, authorizing memorandums of understanding with the Texas Department of Public Safety for the purpose of obtaining a renewal of Commercial Vehicle Enforcement Authority and other matters in connection therewith. Council, do any of these items need to be removed for separate action? Is there a motion to approve items, consent agenda items 1 through 4?
So moved.
Oh, I heard the tie there. Who was it? Okay, motion made by Councilmember Hayward. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker. Council, any other comments? If none, let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
We have 7 ayes, no objection, motion passes. All right, we'll continue with item number 5, ordinance number 21S26. An ordinance by the City Council of the City of Schertz, Texas, amending Part 3, the Schertz Code of Ordinances, Unified Development Code, UDC, subsections within Article 5, Article 9, Article 14, specifically for the creation of the Main Street Mixed-Use New Development, MSMU-ND zoning district, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance, and providing servability clause and providing an effective date. This is our final reading. Council, do we require a presentation on this matter? No, okay. No presentations required. Council, floor is open for discussion. Any comments? Yes, Councilmember Scagliola.
Yes, my primary objection to this, I have no problem with the zoning request. My problem was with the inclusion of a pet shop to the permitted use table. Now, the problem as I see it is adding a pet shop. Mr. James didn't really know why it wasn't included. Couldn't specifically say it wasn't included, which to me, there may be a reason why it's not included. And this was never coordinated with the Animal Control Board, or the animal shelter for that matter. They're the ones that will have to ensure compliance. And a few years back, we had a problem with puppy mills in the city. We went through a lot of trouble to make sure that we didn't have that kind of problem within our city. And yet, by adding this pet shop to the Main Street project or potential, opens up the door. And quite frankly, I don't believe we need to create problems for ourselves. That's what my objection was all about.
Thank you, Dr. Scagliola. So noted. Interesting. Okay, any other comments? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker.
Since I'm the one that suggested adding it, I will just add in there, asking Mr. James, do we have regulations that would, I guess, restrict or regulate a pet shop if it was an issue in the past? Did we add something to avoid the occurrence of a puppy mill or something related to that problem?
So not that I am aware of. The bit of history I vaguely recall, and I can certainly be corrected by some who may recall, but at times I remember we had issues with folks selling puppies, out of a parking lot, things like that. I have not heard that we ever had a problem with a pet store and selling animals per se. I don't know that we had one or when the last time we had one was. So again, not that I can recall.
Okay, so my comment would just be any business that would have to go in would have to meet local, state guidelines, regulations, restrictions. So I think the way I see it as far as adding it into the zoning is does it make sense for what we're trying to create on Main Street as far as a draw to people coming to that area of town? It seemed like it was something that was unique. It's not part of the Main Street mixed use zoning right now, so that we're only talking about new development. So this would have to be a new building of some sort. So it's not saying that all residences or existing businesses could use this, but I think it would be a nice option to have down there, and I still think that it's a good idea.
Okay. Councilmember Hayward?
Here's my objection. But I think because we have the local flavor grant for Main Street, I think that seems to me that we're trying to bring restaurants and things of that nature down to Main Street. I have nothing against pets. I love pets. But I just keep thinking if we're trying to get a certain atmosphere for Main Street, I'm not sure a pet shop fits in that spot, because to me, local flavor means a place for me to eat, a place for me to enjoy a meal, not go look for a pet, or even the whole thing. I know it's a SUP, is a dance hall. I just keep thinking about parking. We have parking issues now. I know that it may not happen, but there's always that possibility. And so that was my objection last time. It had nothing to do with whether I like pets or not.
Okay, Councilmember Scott?
Yes. I remember when my kids were very little, and I'm quite old now, Polly's Pet Shop, and my son went and he got a tortoise at Polly's Pet Shop, and that's on Pat Booker. That has been there probably 40 years, and they have moved, and they moved across the building, across the parking lot. They're still there. They attract a lot of people. There's restaurants all around there. And it's kind of a landmark. It's its own institution in a certain way, and it's very charming. It's not, I'm not saying that I'm an anti-puppy mill, and I don't know the history like Councilman Scagliola, but I think that if it were done correctly, it could just be fantastic for the city. And that's where I went away on, just from the history of Polly's Pet Shop. And in fact, every time we go there, we like just walking around. And I think it's a real draw for the locals. So.
Okay, Council, any other comments? Yes, Councilmember Davis.
Yeah, I can understand the concern. I mean, nobody wants to see a puppy mill, but I think we're going a little bit to the extreme here. I mean, the bottom line is we're talking about a change in the zoning that allows an investor to invest in Main Street and build new buildings. And to do that, they need to have some flexibility to attract various businesses to rent out those spaces. If you look at the whole list of allowable businesses, there's a couple on there that I would say that doesn't interest me at all. But at the end of the day, I don't think a pet shop is that drastic of a potential business for Main Street. We have a pet shop on 3009. The pet barn, they may not have puppies and cats and be in competition with our animal shelter, but they sell all the things that our residents would need to feed and take care of their animals. It's a pet shop. So, again, I think it allows us some flexibility. I would rather see more types of businesses, retail businesses. Again, I agree with Councilwoman Hayward. I like the idea of restaurants and taverns and places where I can go and unwind after the day, and I'd like to see more people going down on Main Street. But again, if it's a retail establishment that brings people down there, I don't think there's a significant problem with it.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? No, the whole issue is the pet shop here regarding on this ordinance. And I agree with Councilmember Davis. We have to provide them the flexibility. We have no idea what or who's going to build there. And just putting further restrictions might just delay any project that's in there. But like he said, we have someone on 3009 that is a pet shop. And it all depends exactly what that investor, what risk he's wanting to take on what he's going to place in there. All right, with that in mind, is there a motion to approve ordinance number 21S26?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion by Councilmember Davis and second by Councilmember Dollar. Council, any other comments? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Aye.
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 Nay.
Aye.
We have 6 ayes and 1 objection. Motion passes. All right. We'll move on to item number 6, ordinance number 21M28. An ordinance by the City Council authorizing the amendment of City Council Rules and Conduct and Procedures, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance and providing an effective date. This is our first reading, and this is basically to try to get an understanding as to the City Council's rules and procedures concerning our main topic is consent agenda items and what should be placed on there. So we did something unique today when we had the consent agenda item on number 5, where we actually read the item. The presentation was available if requested, and then we opened it up for discussion. So the question is, if it's a discussion item, the first thing we have to say is whether or not if this discussion item does not pass by unanimous vote, even if there's 1 objection, does it go into consent agenda items or does it stay in discussion item? That's the first thing we have to address. Yes, Councilmember Scagliola.
Yeah, here's my view of this. Now, I could give you the short explanation or I could give you the long explanation. Let me start with the short, and then we can proceed from there. Now, to me, the consent agenda is kind of binary. It's either all or it's nothing. Look at page 137, section 6-5 of our agenda package. It says, at the discretion of the city manager, with respect to items believed to be non-controversial, the city secretary shall place multiple items on the consent agenda. And that's the thing. If an item is non-controversial, it means everybody is in agreement with it, everybody is consenting to it, then sure enough, it saves time, it's efficient to put it on the consent agenda. But if any one of those items isn't consented on by every single member of this council, well, then it's pretty much going to waste a little bit of time because that item is going to be removed from the consent agenda. Why go through that bureaucratic silliness? My contention is it doesn't belong on the consent agenda to begin with. So that's my short explanation. I've got a longer one prepared, but I'll spare you.
Let's go ahead and hit that topic. We'll start with Councilmember Davis. Would you prefer those items that are not unanimous to be left in discussion?
It doesn't always happen, but I agree with Councilman Scagliola. If it's unanimous, then it makes perfect sense to have it on consent. While every council member does have the option of pulling something from consent, again, to me, my attendance at city council meeting is not about convenience or time. I'm not here to save time. I'm here to hopefully get things right for the city. So to me, it's an administrative issue. If we've had some discussion on it and it was not a unanimous vote, it seems to me that more cases than not, we still want to talk about it, at least somebody on the Diaz would still want to talk about it. So to have it on consent and take the time to read it as part of the consent agenda, just to have somebody pull it so that we can read it a second time and then discuss it, I think is administratively kind of crazy. So we would probably be more efficient if we just said, if it wasn't unanimous, just put it as a discussion item and carry it under that portion of the meeting versus having to read it off twice.
Okay. Councilmember Scott?
I agree. Whenever I was reading this, I was struck by non-controversial, and that's subject to opinion, because what I might not see as a controversy might be a burning issue to somebody else. So I think it makes eminent sense to, if one person, wants to discuss it more, we should give them that opportunity to do so. I wholeheartedly agree. It should be a discussion item, and if it's unanimous, we can just move on with it, in my opinion, because I think all of our hearts are in the right place. And I'm going to digress a little bit, but I want to say something that Mayor said to me off record or off topic or whatever. It was like, we all have the best interest of the city in our hearts, but we have a different vision of how to get there. And so sometimes we must discuss this to hammer on it and to see the best way to get there. And sometimes we make a decision based on the best information that we have at hand, but things can be subject to change. And as other people talk and we gain more information, maybe it behooves us to, things change. That's just part of life. And we're not God, and we're not always right. And so I think that, I hope I didn't go on too much, Mayor, but I'm with, if it's unanimous, let's move forward. And if it needs to be discussed, and I don't say it lightly because I work long, long hours, but I think that we need to do right for the citizens.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker.
I would agree it needs to go back into the discussion. I think tonight was a good example of that there was very minimal discussion on that item. I didn't think it was controversial when I said, hey, I think we should add a pet store. But some people, had other ideas about it, and I think it was good to actually give us that time between the last meeting and this meeting to think about what was presented. If that person presented something that you hadn't thought about, it actually is more productive to have some time to think it through and go, well, gosh, maybe they have a good point. Or maybe you think through that point and you're like, no, I still agree with my point, and you come up with a new point. But it gives us the opportunity to think it through, and I think that's why we are a panel of multiple people with multiple perspectives, and I think actually keeping it on that discussion agenda is going to be productive. I think, if anyone disagrees on the first reading, we should all have the opportunity to think it through. And if it's an easy fix and we're like, never mind, we can vote, have no discussion on it the second time. But I think the opportunity for discussion should be there.
Okay, Councilmember Dalla.
Well, I see the consent agenda really having two parts. The first part is the items that we put on there that are on there for the first time. A budget adjustment or something like that, which we haven't voted on before, and city manager and staff feels it's non-controversial, and for the most part, they're right on those assessments, and that we just look at it, we read our information, and we just keep going. The second part on the consent agenda is the items that require the two votes, the first and second vote. And if it is unanimous, that, I believe that for the second vote, it should be on the consent agenda. If it's not, putting on the discussion, is one way to do it. Leaving it on consent is another. If it's on consent, everybody has the option to request to pull it. And if it's part of a discussion, like we did tonight with item number 5, we didn't have to have the whole presentation done by staff. We knew what the issue was. We're aware of the differences, and everybody got to speak that wanted to speak on that, and we voted on it, and we're done with it. Personally, I don't have much of an opinion one way or the other as to how we want to do it. I'm perfectly fine that if we take it off of consent and put it on discussion items for a second vote for an item that was not unanimous on the first vote is perfectly fine.
Okay. Councilmember Haywood.
For me, I was thinking kind of with the consent agendas, we can pull it even if we so choose, because consent agenda is based on the staff thinking that we'll all decide to agree on it. So to me, it doesn't matter whether we leave it on consent and it gets pulled or it goes to discussion. Just because one person disagrees doesn't mean it necessarily needs to be a discussion. It could be just that person's point of view, and it's not going to change with discussion. So I don't see whether we need to do it or not, but it seems like I guess the consensus is to put it in discussion. I could go either way.
Okay. Councilmember Brown?
Again, just from an efficiency point of view, if we're going to discuss something, why put it in consent? Leave it out there for discussion, keep the discussion short, keep the process moving, and, let's get through the issues, and whether they pass or don't, let's put it in the right place, the first time versus making a mistake and having to pull things. And besides that, just a reminder, we all get this material 3 days prior to review with all the supporting documentation. So we all have a good opportunity to read things over the weekend, ask staff on Monday if we need to, or even Tuesday during the day to clarify things. So we should be able to get most of that stuff done in an efficient manner.
Okay, thank you. Well, it seems like council has made a decision that any item that is not unanimous will go into a discussion item. We'll handle it just like we did today with item number 5. We'll be prepared for a presentation. We'll ask council whether or not they want the presentation. If no one requests it, then we'll move on for discussion if council wants to discuss the item. Discussion is not necessary because we did that prior, but it is open and available at that time, and we can actually go to a quick vote if needed, just so that it is recorded as who did not vote for who had objections to this ordinance or resolution. Is that more or less how we want to handle it, council? Okay, do we need to vote on this, Dr. Brown?
So since council process and procedures is an ordinance in itself, our recommendation would be that we would amend the ordinance to state that.
All right.
Then we'll have a second reading, so if anyone objects, it'll go back on discussion.
All right. So, based on, did you catch all that as how we were going to handle it?
Yes, because this is in your rules of conduct and procedures.
Okay.
We gave you an option and included under 7.6 an A or a B option. It sounds like the consensus is the B option. That if ordinances that do not receive a unanimous vote on first reading shall be placed on the discussion portion of the agenda. So that's what you have before you on first reading, and we need it.
Mayor, here's the thing.
Yes.
If we're in agreement that 6.5 is fairly self-explanatory, non-controversial items, it can be put on consent, then the verbiage that is proposed to be added in 7.6 really isn't needed.
Maybe a clarification, but even if we make a clarification.
When I was in the military, we actually loved to go through some of our regulations, and we would add things to the regulation just to prove that we're doing something. It amounted to next to nothing. However, it gave the impression that we were doing something that wasn't needed until somebody came by for the next revision. This doesn't need to be in there.
Well, I would say that I get you. I hear that. However, this does provide clarification to staff, so there's a reason for it.
Okay, then in that case,
we're not all going to be here, in a few years, and then they'll be doing this all over again.
I propose we go with option B on 7.6, so that I'll approve ordinance number 21M28 with the understanding that 7.6 should be amended to include ordinances that do not receive a unanimous vote on the first reading shall be placed on the discussion portion of the next agenda, and strike out section A.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Scagliola and second by Councilmember Davis to make that change. Council, any other comments? If not, let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Aye.
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 We have 7 ayes, no objection, motion passes. All right, we'll go on to a roll call confirmation. Our city secretary, Brenda Dennis, will provide roll call confirmation on the consent agenda items 1 and 4, and items number 5 and 6.
Yes, Mayor. Consent agenda items 1 through 4. A motion was made by Councilmember Hayward, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker. Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker, Councilmembers Davis, Scott, Dalla, Scagliola, Hayward, Brown voted yes. No one voted no. Motion passed. Item number 5, ordinance number 21S26 on final reading. A motion was made by Councilmember Davis, seconded by Councilmember Dalla. Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker, Councilmembers Davis, Scott, Dalla, Scagliola, Brown voted yes. Councilmember Hayward voted no. Motion passed. Item number 6, ordinance number 21M28 on first reading. Motion was made by Councilmember Scagliola, seconded by Councilmember Davis. Ordinance number 21M28 to choose under 7.6 option B. Motion was made by Councilmember Scagliola, seconded by Councilmember Davis. Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker, Councilmembers Davis, Scott, Dalla, Scagliola, Hayward, Brown voted yes. No one voted no. Motion passed.
Thank you, Ms. Dennis. All right, we have a closed session. Item number 7, our city council will convene an executive session under Texas Governmental Code, section 551-.071, to receive legal advice from its attorneys regarding the following litigation. Case number D-1-18-18-000535, Green Valley Special Utility District versus the Public Utility Commission of Texas, Deanne T. Walker, Arthur Deanne, and Brandy Marty Marcus in the official capacity as commissioners of the Public Utility Commissions of Texas. Also, Brian H. Lloyd in his official capacity as Executive Director of the Public Utility Commission of Texas, or his successor, in the City of Schertz, Texas, in the 419th District Court of Travis County, Texas. In addition, case number 07-20-00167-CV, the City of Schertz and Cibolo Creek Municipal Authority versus the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality and Green Valley Special Utility District in the 7th Court of Appeals, Amarillo, Texas. In addition, case number 19-51056, the City of Schertz versus the United States Department of Agriculture, acting by, through George Irvin Sonny Perdue III, Secretary of Agriculture. Also, the Rural Utility Services, acting by and through Ed Hargett, State Director, and in addition to the Green Valley Special Utility District in the United States Court of Appeals for the 5th Circuit. And finally, case number 1:17-CV-00819-SS, United States District Court, Western District of Texas, Austin Division, Green Valley Special Utility District versus the City of Schertz et al. Okay, the time is now 6:59. We will reconvene after our discussion. The time is now 7:54. We reconvene into a regular session after our discussion and deliberation on our closed session in regards to agenda item number 7 and the pending litigation on the cases that we mentioned before. There is no action required, so there is no vote confirmation needed. So we'll continue then to further announcements. Dr. Brown, any further
I have
announcements?
no further announcements, Mayor.
Okay, council, is there any information or updates requested from staff? None? Okay. Council, anything that you want to place on the future agenda? All right, announcements by council members or events they attended. Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker.
So I attended 2 ribbon cuttings, both at the chamber. One was for Wathel Sash and Pipes, and then another for Patrice and Associates. Thank you, Mayor, for letting me present the pins. I did a check presentation from the Rainbow Girls to the animal shelter. That was very nice of them to donate. I attended the workshop with Schertz Housing Authority. Helped out with Project Flagline, putting out flags on Schertz Parkway. Love that. The kids actually, I think, enjoyed themselves. It was a great experience. And then the 4th of July parade, I thought it was really well organized. I love the golf carts for the time I had one. And I thought it was a great turnout. My first parade was Christmas. I thought this was even better because it was during the daytime, and considering all the rain, I thought it was wonderful. Very well organized from the get-go, and I love being a part of that. That's it.
All right, thank you. And just for everyone's reference, the reason we laughed about the golf carts is that Mayor Pro Tem's golf cart ran out of battery. Anyway, Councilmember Davis?
Nothing, sir.
Councilmember Scott?
Not at this time, but I do regret not being in town for the 4th of July. I've heard rave reviews from the citizens, and oh my gosh, congratulations, everyone.
Councilmember Dalla?
Got back in town from vacation just in time to attend the parade and had a great time there, and then attended the fireworks show at the park later on that evening. Great job by staff, volunteers, everybody that worked so hard to put it all together. Again, like Ms. Scott said, I've gotten a lot of good feedback from people. Everybody had a great time. I think it was probably one of the largest crowds that we've ever had at Pickerel Park. So congrats to Parks and Rec for a job well done. Thank you.
Councilmember Scagliola?
What Councilmember Dalla said. Completely agree. Exceptional fireworks display. Loved it. That's all.
Councilmember Hayward?
Yes, I did the TMRS advisory board meeting. I did 2 webinars with Facebook and Instagram. One was frequently asked questions, and the other one was advertising on both. I did the Rainbow Girls, which they presented us, the animal shelter, with the check after having a fundraiser. That was a nice presentation. 2 ribbon cuttings at the chamber and the 4th of July parade, as well as the fireworks, and it was amazing. And I am to let staff know that my husband said it was absolutely fantastic, and he loved the way it was done. That's all.
Councilmember Brown?
The Housing Authority meeting was was very good. I think it was timely. Flag installation, had a lot of fun. It was great to see hundreds of folks out there putting thousands of flags out, and immediate recognition by the city, so that was good stuff. Of course, the parade started out a little damp, but the skies parted, and everybody got to have a good time. And again, everybody I've talked to just, they can't say enough good about what the city of Schertz and their Parks and Recs folks did for the 4th of July celebration. Outstanding.
All right, thank you. The time is now 7:58. We stand adjourned.